Okay, it looks like we are good to go. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to a nice warm summer evening here in the Death Valley region of Eastern California. And kind of the last night of galaxy season, at least as far as I am able to see this stuff. It's getting pretty low in the western sky now after it gets dark. So kind of the last little bit of galaxy season. And so that's what we're going to see tonight. It's just some mostly southern sky galaxies, and stuff that most folks in North America and the northern and Europe can't see because it's kind of lower in the southern sky. So maybe just kind of some of the stragglers that are in the southwest right now. I got a little bit of a breeze tonight, so we'll see. Hopefully it won't make our stars too ovally. Our guiding will be okay, but yeah, you can probably hear in the microphone. Definitely have a little bit of a breeze tonight. Okay, let's bring up this so I can show you guys what I am using, and I will have to turn off the test pattern. Okay, so here is my setup. It's an 8-inch Schmidt-Cassegrain telescope with a 6.3 reducer on the back, and or 0.63 reducer, I guess, on the back, and the camera here, and it's all riding around on my ZWO AM5 mount that is on my no-expense spared cinderblock pier, which has just worked great for me, and was very cheap to build. So that is what's bringing us the images tonight, and I'm sitting at a table behind all this, bringing it all to you. So, okay, right now I'm on Dub. I'm not sure how that's pronounced, but let's go get our list for tonight. Whoa, very slow. Okay, import list. And astronomy folder, observation lists, live stream lists, and June 28, 2025. That's us. Okay, got a list of about 10 objects or so tonight for us to look at. And all right, so as you can see, they're all pretty low in the southwestern sky, so we're going to be kind of staying in one spot mostly, but I need to get on these two here first. So the first one we're going to start with is the Sombrero Galaxy, and that will get us on our first object. So let's slew around and come over to do the Sombrero. Okay, and where are you? There you are. Make sure you get on there. No, this one. And now we will plate solve that. Okay. There we go. Got a nice little galaxy in there. This is a pretty cool galaxy. Sombrero. And we'll start some stacking on that. And whoops, and that makes it disappear. Alright, we'll have our first sub on that in a minute. Meantime, let's bring up our Wikipedia. To the Sombrero Galaxy. It's a peculiar galaxy of unclear classification. Huh. About 30 million light years away. It's just a very cool looking galaxy, as you'll see here in a minute. Alright, let's get our colors balanced and our histogram stretched properly. Something like that, and something like that. There is our sombrero. Very sharp, continuous, or contiguous dust lane around the edges that just really gives it the edge of that hat, like a sombrero. But the inner part is just fuzzy and glowy, and it's not really clear what it is. Doesn't look like a spiral galaxy, but doesn't look like just an elliptical galaxy either, so it's kind of unclear what it is. It's a member of the Virgo group. It has a diameter of approximately 95 to 105,000 light years. According to this, that makes it slightly bigger in size than the Milky Way galaxy, but I've seen other numbers indicating that the Milky Way galaxy is about 120,000 light years across, so I guess that's a matter of opinion. We can't really even tell what how big our own galaxy is, so but it's about 100,000 light years across, give or take. So about the same size as the Milky Way. It has a bright nucleus, an unusually large central bulge, and a prominent dust lane in its outer disk. Astronomers initially thought the halo was small and light, indicative of a spiral galaxy, but the Spitzer Space Telescope found that the halo was significantly larger and more massive than previously thought, indicative of a giant elliptical. That's kind of what it looks like to me as an elliptical. There really doesn't seem to be much of any definition in this inner glowing part, so don't know. Very cool galaxy, though. Discovered in 1781 by Pierre Marchand, who described it in a letter. Charles Messier made a handwritten note about this and 5 other objects, now collectively recognized as M104 through M109, to his personal list of objects, now known as the Messier Catalog. But it was not quote-unquote officially included until 1921. William Herschel independently discovered the object in 1784 and initially noted the presence of a dark stratum in the galaxy's disk, what is now called a dust lane. So about 30 million light years away, and about the same size as the Milky Way, although not clear. I've seen some people say the Milky Way is 100,000. Other people say 120,000. Other people say 90,000. So we're not really sure, I guess, is the takeaway from that. Let's start the music here. It is a bit breezy, so I may be turning the microphone off here a bit more tonight, just so you guys aren't listening to wind drone in the microphone. But as always, let me know if the audio is good or if there's an issue with it, because I don't really get any feedback while I'm doing the live stream. Ooh, that's a beauty of a satellite right through there. We'll get rid of that sub. I don't really get any feedback on the audio, so I rely on you guys to tell me if something in the audio is out of whack. Putting the the meantime, we'll let the sombrero build in. I'm probably going to do a little bit more time on each object tonight. Usually I do about 10 or 12 minutes. Tonight we'll probably do more like 14 or 15 per object. This one is a nice big bright one. This one and probably the next one, the southern pinwheel, which is another Messier object. They're brighter, so we could probably they're going to be brighter. Some of the brightest objects we'll do tonight. Most of them will be smaller, very cool looking galaxies, but a little bit smaller and dimmer. So we'll probably end up doing a little bit of more time on each object tonight than normal. So. Dane, thank you for the audio feedback. I appreciate it. And you're not hearing much background noise or wind. Well, good. The microphone is doing its job. Hopefully canceling most of that noise. But, yeah, definitely got a little bit of a breeze tonight. It's not supposed to be much, but there will be a breeze intermittently on and off. So, just have to deal with that. Okay, let's shrink this down, get it out of the way. Hey, Greg. How are you doing tonight? You doing something outside tonight? I assume you must have some pretty good skies like me. A little bit of a breeze here, but mostly pretty darn nice. Been out most of the week, actually. Most nights this week. It's been just really nice. Warm weather, but that makes for good astro at night, so... Ooh, Pickerings. That's a great object to spend some time on. Definitely an object that needs some time. Very cool. I like doing that with, especially now that I get the Hyperstar. At f/19, I can really make that thing pop in not much time. So, but spending lots of time on it is a great way to do that. I love the whole Cygnus loop. It's one of my favorite objects. Just so beautiful and delicate and vibrant and colorful, and it's just a great object. Dane, well, I'm actually I'm not actually in Death Valley itself. I am about 25 miles outside the park boundaries, so I'm a bit closer to Las Vegas than Death Valley itself. But my Bortle level here in my yard is probably, I call it about 2.5. I am about 80 miles due west of Las Vegas in the eastern California desert, and so about the lower 25 or 30 degrees of my eastern sky is the light dome of Las Vegas. So I'm not quite as dark as Bortle 2, but I'm not quite as bright as Bortle 3 either, so I'm somewhere in like what I call Bortle 2.5 here in my yard. Death Valley is darker than that, as long as you get away from the little towns there, primarily Furnace Creek and Stovepipe Wells, which do have some lights. As long as you get away from those, then you are fairly dark. You're probably at least as dark as Bortle 2, probably a bit less than that. I don't think you're Bortle 1, because Death Valley is still, 100, 125 miles away from Vegas, so there's still some light. It's definitely not Bortle 1, like if you go up into central Nevada, then you get Bortle 1, it's really dark. But yes, Death Valley itself is, if you get away from Furnace Creek and Stovepipe Wells, Furnace Creek itself is pretty dark. It is darker than where I am. Well, I missed that satellite. I missed that satellite went through there. Too late to get rid of it now. Oh well, I just have to face it. Totally missed that it was there. Yeah, YouTube does not allow, as you know, does not allow posting of links in the chat. So, yeah, go ahead and email it to me. That'll be fine. I'll take a look at it probably tomorrow. No, thank you, Dane, for being here. Appreciate you being here. So, well, with the exception of one satellite trail that I missed on that second to last sub, I think we did pretty good here. Come on. Come on. There we go. Now you got it. Got the sombrero. And a satellite. Shooting the western sky this soon after dark. And there's going to be some low Earth orbit satellites just still catching some of that sun, because they can still see the sun even though it's set here. And yeah, Dane, I do have some pretty nice skies here. Can't complain about that. One of the great things about living out here in the desert, we definitely pay our price for that this time of year. It's pretty darn warm. But anyway, there is the Sombrero Galaxy, a very cool object. So next, let's go to M83. The southern pinwheel will be next. Which I think I can clear my roof line for that. Okay, let's plate solve on that baby. Yeah, pretty much right on. Oh yeah, there it is right there. Just needs to bring that right up here. We'll get started on it. Okay. 10 more minutes before Pickering's clears the neighbor's roof. Yeah. It's pretty high for me here. Okay, so we've got that going. So, SCA 83. SCA 83. Also known as the Southern Pinwheel Galaxy, is a barred spiral approximately 15 million light years away. So this actually is fairly close to us, one of our more local neighbors. 15 million light years in galactic terms is pretty close to us. Most of the galaxies we'll look at tonight will be dozens of millions of light years away, so this one is only about 15. Nicholas Louis de Lacaille discovered M83 in 1752. There she is. Balance those colors off, get me a little more blue in here. Maybe a little less noise. Yeah, I hear you on the wind. It's been a little bit breezy here too. Not bad. Not bad. You know, enough that's not driving my guiding too nuts. Yeah, been a little bit of a breeze. They're saying it is supposed to die down, not stop, but die down a bit as the evening progresses. So I'm hoping that stays true. Wrench that baby back. Nice barred spiral. I mean, you see the bar there. It's a pretty nice spiral design. Two fairly even arms coming out from each end of the spiral, each end of the bar, excuse me. So now we just need to let it collect some data and smooth out some of those speckles and some of that noise. Let's see. Okay, so Louis de la Caille discovered it in 1752. He was at the Cape of Good Hope, very southern tip of South America. Charles Messier added it to his catalog of nebulous objects, now known as the Messier Catalog, in 1781, so almost 30 years later. It's one of the closest and brightest barred spiral galaxies in the sky, and is visible with binoculars. It has a diameter of about 120,000 light years. It's called the Southern Pinwheel because it's very similar to the regular Pinwheel Nebula, or Messier 101, which which we may see this evening if we have a little extra time. Like I said, I have about 10 objects tonight, so that should have us going till about midnight or so, which is probably going to be quitting time for me. But if we have an issue with any object, or I just am still feeling my oats at midnight and want to go a little longer, we can always pick M101 off. And the Whirlpool Galaxy too, because that's just a spectacularly cool object. But in the meantime, we will build on this. What scope am I using? Yeah, I used to shoot with a newt, but now, I showed this at the beginning of the presentation, but you weren't here, so, but it's always good to show it more. I should actually update more because people show up and leave. Anyway, it's a C8. I picked up this C8 January, I think, and picked it up off the used market, and I had already had a .63, a Japan-made .63 reducer with it that I had bought earlier, so I already had that reducer, and so all I needed was a Hyperstar. It took a good month plus for one to show up on the used market, but it finally did, and you can actually see it's actually installed in this particular image. And so I've got the Hyperstar and the 6.3 reducer, and boy, I love the Hyperstar. Man, imaging with that is just so cool. And for Galaxy season, I've gone to the 6.3 reducer, and I've spent the last few months with the 6.3 reducer, and I've been enjoying that too. But man, I love the Hyperstar. So that's my current setup is the C8. I'm still on the AM5, but the Newt has been relegated to this storage shed right now, because the Newt at f4 was great. Then I got the Nexus reducer coma corrector for it, which dropped it to f3, and that was even better. But then when I got the C8 and went to f1.9, man, it's just so fast. It is just so great for imaging. I really love it. So, yeah, the Newt kind of sits collecting dust in the storage shed right now because I'm just really loving the C8. It's giving me better images, faster, and it's just a much more versatile scope, obviously. The Schmidt Cassegrains are the Swiss Army knives of telescopes. They can do everything from f1.9 to f25, so you can do a lot of different things with it, which with the imaging newt, that's kind of a one-trick pony. I tried putting a Barlow on our teleextender on it to try and get a little more focal length out of it to do galaxies and stuff, but it never provided great results. But this thing is fabulous. The C8 with the 6.3 reducer, you know, take the hyperstar off, put the 6.3 reducer on, which puts me at right about with the extensions I have on. I'm right at about it exactly f6 with it, and it's just 1200 millimeters of focal length, and it's just absolutely great. I really love it. Autumn, yes, I absolutely remember who you are. I haven't seen you in a really long time. Thanks for stopping in. I really, it's nice to see you. Hopefully I'll get to see you when you come out here again at some point, but yeah, great to see you. And Greg says, love the cinder block pier. Yes, this is my no expense spared cinder block pier, which just works great. You know, it stays outside, everything else goes inside, and every night, and it just works fabulously. I have the blocks all glued together with construction adhesive, but they're not glued to the pad. So I can put a two-wheel dolly under here and move it around if I ever need to, but it just kind of stays put, stays outside, and it's impervious to wind, weather, and everything else. And so it just works great. I love it. I don't have to set up a tripod or anything every night. It's just rock solid and always there, and it laughs at the sun and the wind and the rain and all of it. So I love it. Oh, maybe next month. Well, cool. This is a lousy time to be visiting out here, but yeah, let me know if you come up. This will be great. Okay, we have a right now. Oh, you know what? This may be all we get out of this one. I'm close to a roof line, and so this may be me coming into the roof line and actually getting screened on. And that's not going to tell me much. I may actually be dropping into the roof line, and so may not be able to see any more than this. Hold on, I'm going to go look at the scope and sight along the scope and see if that's exactly what's happening here. Yeah, that's exactly what happened. We've this basically has dropped into my roof. So basically, that's all we're going to get out of it. We got 8 stacks out of it, so that's not too bad. It is a very nice little object, and it's one of the reasons why I wanted to start with the sombrero in this one, because they were my by far most southern and lowest objects. So I knew they were going to be very time critical to get on. But in the meantime, I think we'll just be moving on here. We'll go over to the next one. So let me stop this stack. And get in here. Get to my object. Let's see, 4517. But this is a twofer. We can do more than one here. Well, maybe that's a little too much. Well, I will recenter better when we get over there. But this will come up sky quite a bit, so we'll get away from my roof. Okay. And now let's plate solve on that to get it in there. Alright, we may have to pull a sub for me to get it centered a little better. You know, I know there's a way to put a marker in to SharpCap. Ah, there it is. It's shift click. Okay, so we've moved on to there. Let's start this again. Start this again. Because that should have me better centered. It's Shift M. I knew there was a way to set a marker that didn't rely on any stars. And that's what it is. It's Shift M. Okay, good. So these should be fairly well centered in here now. Bad news is I had to restart the stack, so we'll have to wait a little bit, but okay, so this is going to be NGC 4517. NGC 4517. Okay, what do we got? It's a spiral galaxy about 40 million light years away, so this is kind of more like the galaxies we look at. Dozens of millions of light years away. Southern Pinwheel Whale was nice and close. And we're also going to get a twofer. We're going to get more than one here. Which is kind of why I picked this. 4517 is a nice galaxy. But we get more than one with this image. Okay. Pretty faint stuff, though. It was discovered in 1784 by William Herschel. So about 40 million light years away. And this is gonna take a little time. This is why we're gonna spend probably 15 minutes on each object tonight, because you're gonna be a little bit fainter. So we need to take a little more time. And Dane says, I've heard the hyperstar is really good, but can you explain how it helps? I have an edge, 8-inch edge with the 0.7, but I'm curious how the hyperstar would change it. Okay. Well, the hyperstar. Okay, hyperstar 101. So let me zoom in on this here. It's actually, this is, so you have the C8. Yours is an edge, mine's a regular one, but basically the same thing. The back of the scope is where the eyepieces or cameras go, because the way it works is there's the large mirror in the back, so the light comes in the front, hits this mirror, which is curved, it's a concave mirror, angles the light in toward the secondary mirror, which is up here, which then directs the light back here down this long tunnel into the eyepiece or the camera. So that's how the SCT works. A mirror here, and bounces it back. What the hyperstar does is it replaces the front mirror. So you actually remove the mirror out of the front of the scope, which is very easy to do, and mount the hyperstar where the mirror, the secondary mirror on the front of the scope is. And so what happens is it dramatically shortens the light path. When you're using something back here, the light has to travel through here, it bounces, goes through the corrector plate up front, and then does 2 bounces to go back here, which is a fairly long focal length. With the hyperstar, it just comes in and bounces to the hyperstar, and that's it. So it makes the scope focally much faster. And depending on which scope you have, I think with the Edge, well, it depends. You'd have to look on the Arizona website to see the speed varies a little bit between scope models. With mine, the version 4 Hyperstar, which they're on version 4 right now, speeds up the scope from f10 to f1.9, which means that I'm collecting light 25 times faster than at f10. Actually, a little more than 25 times, because the speed of light collection is the square of the focal ratio. So when you go 5 times shorter on the focal length, you get 25 times faster on the speed. So basically what that means is I can collect in 1 minute with the Hyperstar, I can collect the same amount of light as 25 minutes at the native f10 on the scope. So for imaging, it is just incredibly fast. And so you can, in very short amounts of time, you can get nice, bright, well-saturated images. And the darker your skies, the more it's actually increased, because it increases your contrast as well. Because it's so fast, it amplifies whatever light is coming into it, including bright background sky. So if you're living in a bright area, the effect of really fast optics isn't as pronounced as it is if you're in a dark sky site, where any light from objects is greatly enhanced, but the dark sky is not, and so you actually get not only much brighter objects, but much greater contrast as well. So since I got the Hyperstar, in last winter, and have used it with my C8 here, man, it's incredible. I have never seen objects as good as, I've never been able to image objects as good as I can with the Hyperstar. It's just amazing how fast it is and how much the speed really enhances your images. So let me know if you have any other questions about that, but that's how the Hyperstar works. Yeah, the Hyperstars are, if you have an SCT and you do imaging, especially if you go to dark sky sites every now and again, the Hyperstar is just an amazing accessory. They are very expensive. I think brand new, the Hyperstar for the regular C8 I think is $1,000. I don't know if there's a price difference for the Edge. I don't think there is. I think they're all just $1,000 for all the C8s. But obviously the Hyperstar for the Edge is going to be different from the Hyperstar for the regular C8, because the Edge has got the coma-free optics. So the optics are different. So you can't just get a regular C8 Hyperstar, you need to get one for the Edge. So they do come up on the used market every now and again. Like I said, I had to wait at least a month, 4 or 5 weeks of watching the market, the used market on cloudy nights, to have mine finally pop up. And so you can usually get them on the used market for $700 to $800, depending on condition and whether they come with adapters or filter sliders or whatever. But if you want to just go to Arizona and get it, it's going to be about $1,000 for your C8. But man, it absolutely transforms the C8. Well, any SCT. It worked great on the C6, the C8, the C11, 14s. I mean, they make hyperstars for all of them. So I don't think they make a hyperstar for like the C4 or 5, but definitely they do for the C6. And yeah, they're just a lot of fun to use. They're pretty great. All right, blah blah blah. Let's. Wait, that's a really hard thing to catch. It's very fine. Let's stretch this out a bit, even at the risk of being a little grainy. These are not highly bright objects. What I really... They show up a lot better if I can do 3-minute subs, but 3-minute subs have us waiting a lot longer with a blank screen, so... Oh, thank you, Autumn. I'm glad you showed up, and yeah, let me know if you come up. It'd be great to see you again. Go for a bike ride or something again, like we did last time. And yeah, nice to see you. And maybe I'll see you soon. So as you can tell, this is another edge-on galaxy, sort of like the sombrero that we looked at earlier. But this one, the dust lane is not as contiguous. It's kind of broken up a bit. It's got a nice dark spot here, but it's a bit more uneven and broken up, and it's obviously not as bright an object. And then this is an interesting spiral as well, but it's very faint. And and it really takes some time to resolve it. It's a pretty faint little guy. But this is why we're doing a little extra time on the objects tonight, because they're going to be a little bit fainter. There we are with that one. Let's move on to M61, the swelling spiral galaxy. Oh, I might have just messed that up. Messed that up. Let's try this again. Yeah, it says it's right on. Okay. Well, let's see what we get. And here comes that wind again. 61, the swelling spiral galaxy. Intermediate barred spiral in the Virgo cluster of galaxies. First discovered by Barnaba Oriani in May of 1779, 6 days before Charles Messier discovered the same galaxy. Messier had observed it on the same night as Oriani, but had mistaken it for a comet. Its distance has been estimated to be about 45 million light years away. Alright, let's see. There we go. And again, it has some friends with it. This would be a bit brighter of an object. All right. It has weakly barred. It's a weakly barred spiral with a suggestion of a ring structure and moderate to loosely wound spiral arms. It has a galactic nucleus and is classified as a starburst galaxy, containing a nuclear star cluster with an estimated mass of 1 million solar masses and an age of 4 million years, as well as a central candidate supermassive black hole weighing around 5 million solar masses. It cohabits with an older massive star cluster as well as likely an older starburst. Evidence of significant star formation and active bright nebulae appear across the disk. Unlike most late-type spiral galaxies with a Virgo cluster, M61 shows an unusual abundance of neutral hydrogen. Okay. And we got a bunch of galaxies up in here. Obviously we got these two here, but then we got one there. We got a nice little, looks like an edge-on spiral there. In fact, we can confirm that with the annotation here. Yep. These are big enough to have NGC numbers. This is a UGC. We've got some little tiny guys in here. Mag 17 plus. That's a galaxy, huh? Boy, that looks like a star. They're saying it's a galaxy. Thanks for being here, Dane, and thanks for your good questions. Stop back by anytime, and hope you had a great night, and continue to have a great night. looks like it's happened again. We're getting into my roof line again, and we're going to be fighting that most of the night. So this is what we're going to get on this object. But there are some pretty cool, you know, these other little guys here. Another little spiral there, possibly even a barred spiral. It's down there. And another little barred spiral with a barred elliptical up there. And then another little edge on over there. So, kind of some fun galaxies. There's a swelling spiral galaxy in M61. And let's move on to the next object. The good news is the rest of these get higher in the sky. So, Lost Galaxy of Copeland. Let's head up there and do this one. I shouldn't need to replate solve on that. It's a fairly short hop. Okay, NGC 4535. It's a barred spiral. Is about 54 million light years from Earth. Has a barred structure across the core, no ring, and loosely wound spiral arms. The inner part of the galaxy has two spiral arms which branch into multiple arms farther away. Good evening, Mundus. We are on NGC 4535. Which is about 54 million light years away from us. But it's a pretty cool little spiral. It's a barred spiral. Got a bar in here, and then there's two Two arms that start out here as just two fairly clearly defined arms, but then they branch out into more than two arms as they get further out. So kind of like arms, and then they become fingers or something. It's got a companion over here too. I'd noticed that. Well, for the last few minutes, we've had a pretty good breeze pickup here. The guiding has gone straight to heck, so I'm not sure how these next subs are going to show up, but yeah, we've got a pretty big breeze that has just come up out of nothing, and I think we're getting close to our roof line again. Yep, we just dropped into our roof line, so I think we'll move on to the next object anyway. Hopefully this breeze will die down, because it's really picked up here, which it was not supposed to do this evening. Okay, so an M60 will be next. No, not NGC, say 4647. Well, I guess it doesn't really matter. Get another group in here. Okay. Yeah, this breeze is definitely picked way up. If it does not die down, I may have to call it a night, unfortunately. Not sure what is causing this. Certainly wasn't forecasted, but anyway, well, I guess we'll see. In the meantime, we will see what we can see about M60. It's an elliptical galaxy, about 57 million light years away, so about the same distance as the last one we just looked at. Not you. 59. No, they're both ellipticals. Well, but M60 has this neighbor right next to it, so. Yeah, it's got a companion, and it's got some other galaxies that are right in the neighborhood, so. Stuff here. Boy, this breeze is really picking up. Messier 60, 57 million light years away. Together with NGC 4647, which is this guy right here, it forms a pair known as ARP 116. Messier 60 and Messier 59, who I just in the Planetarium software here, 59, we're looking at this one here. We're looking at this one here, but M59 right next door is what they're talking about. They were both discovered by Johann Gottfried Kohler in April of 1779, observing a comet in the same part of the sky. Charles Messier added both to his catalog about 3 days later. It's an elliptical galaxy, although some folks classify it as a lenticular. The galaxy has an effective radius of 128 doesn't really say. Oh, it's 128 arc seconds. At the center of M60 is a supermassive black hole. approximately 4.5 billion solar masses, one of the largest ever found. Wow. 4.5 billion solar masses. Boy, this wind is just really getting bad. I wonder where the heck this is coming from. It was supposed to calm as the evening went along, so this is quite a surprise. But unfortunately, this is going to drive me in if it does not calm down pretty soon. Sheesh. Like this, you know, you only normally get this kind of wind when there's a storm nearby or something, a thunderstorm that's causing a microburst or something, but there are no storms in the sky, so I do not know where this wind is coming from. But it's probably going to mean I have to go in, because this is not going to work doing this. I'll give it another couple of minutes, but does not let up pretty quick, we are done for the night. otherwise, this wind does not appear to be letting up, so I am going to have to call it a night. Sorry about that. Got our list cut short on us, but yeah, this wind is just out of nowhere and is not letting up. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to call it a night. Thanks everyone for being here, and again, I apologize for the short night, but not much I can do. Anyway, I will see you next time. Thanks everybody.